Hello. Welcome to Atheists Talk, produced by Minnesota Atheists. I'm your host tonight, and I am Cynthia Egley, president of Minnesota Atheists. Minnesota Atheists practices positive, friendly atheism in order to promote or develop a community for other atheists, to educate the public about atheism, and also to work to promote separation of state and church. We offer free literature and speakers about atheism to the public, and we have a free sample newsletter for anybody who's interested. Our contact information will begin during the program and at the end of the program, and we hope you will like what you see and you'll consider becoming a member of Minnesota Atheists. If you're interested in us, we're interested in you. Tonight, my guest is the chair of Minnesota Atheists, George Kane. George has been a member of Minnesota Atheists for about 10 years and about secretary for 6 of them. And he's been a very important part of the organization for a long time here. For the last 4 years, he's published the Atheist Weekly Email, or AWE, which he puts out every week to let people know about all the events that are going on for atheists. He's an organizer for many of our events, and our master of ceremonies often, and for the Atheist Pride event, which we'll be having in later this month. And tonight I'll be talking to him about his development as an atheist and his philosophical observations. Welcome, George.
Well, thank you, Cynthia.
Well, how would you like to start? You want to give us some of your background? Did you come from a religious family?
Well, not terribly. I grew up in a Catholic family, but it was not really an observant Catholic family. And when my mother remarried when I was 8, they did send me to catechism, at least just up through First Holy Communion. But I took it very seriously, and they weren't especially pleased by that. They pulled me out of catechism after the First Holy Communion, but didn't go on to confirmation because they were worried that I'd become a priest. I was taking it so seriously. But certainly it was a family that believed in God. I never heard from anyone in the family any doubt about the existence of God. Mm-hmm. And my mother, during times of personal crisis, would always stop by church to say a prayer. But when I attended catechism, it did raise some doubts. I did have some resistance. I do recall, in a rather primitive way, asking for some sort of sign that God exists. So I did have doubts. I wasn't completely convinced of the existence of God. And of course, I never got a sign, but I was asking for ridiculous signs like knock down this wall, and it never happened. But a couple of things that I recall from catechism: the discussions of mortal sins and things that would condemn you to an eternity in hell if they weren't repented. And one was missing Mass on Sunday, and my family just never attended Mass on Sunday. And I recall thinking at the time that that couldn't be right. That couldn't be a mortal sin. It was so morally disproportionate. Such a minor thing that could condemn a person to an eternity in hell. And the other was the exclusive path to salvation being through the Catholic Church. And I thought, that can't be right either, because there are other people who are very serious about their religion, other Christian denominations, and a lot of non-Christians to whom Christianity doesn't make any sense, even though they know things about it. And it just couldn't be that because of these cultural differences that people were sentenced to an eternity in hell, mostly because they were born in the wrong country, born in the wrong community, born to the wrong family. Mm-hmm. So I never completely bought the catechism, bought all of those arguments. Growing up, I do recall, taking it seriously, I recall having discussions with my little buddies around the neighborhood sometimes about questions such as, is there a God? And I do recall specifically there were a couple of arguments that we knew, that we discussed. One was the argument from design. Mm-hmm.